Hey everyone, I wanted to record a quick video before I leave my office for the day. Version 4.6. I'm really excited about this update. I think there's quite a bit of stuff in here. I've tried to go through uh, the bug report thread and also the the feature request thread. And also, I think one benefit that people appreciate is that I'm a user of this system too. So there's many weekends when I'm out there timing races alongside you using the exact same system you are using, and I try to always maximize everything I offer. So every time I go to a race, I try to take advantage of having all the equipment and trying to set up the results kiosk and everything I can so that I can get good experience and really put everything through some good testing. So this update includes quite a bit of stuff that maybe you haven't even thought to ask for, or things that maybe you kind of as you use it, it'd be a little nice if we did this and that. Well, I tried to put everything in here I could. Now I'm actually still working on the 2015 TFERS submission. So if you're a cross-country coach or someone who may time cross-country events for the NCAA, for NCAA events, then that's something that I plan on having done hopefully within the next week or two. And so there might actually, even though I'm kind of announcing 4.6, and this is the beta version I'm announcing, there'll probably be another small patch in a couple of weeks with that. And there's still also a couple other minor things that I'm working on. There's one thing that's new with 4.6 is and I'm really happy with the run sign up integration, the improvements I've done in this. So, for example, right now in the past, you could only, when you say publish results, it would only publish the overall results and that's it. And so now you have the option to say, hey, not only do I want to do overall, I also want to include all the divisions. And of course, another thing, which I think a little teaser was released yesterday, that with this system now you can set up and create your own divisions and call them whatever you want. And the divisions, whenever the divisions are being filled out on the results, that you can say, okay, the winners of these divisions should be included in these, and it's very dynamic in how you set it up. So this should be able to handle, because here's the thing, when you're developing a product like this, you have to make it to where you don't paint yourself in a corner, and you may find that some people want Masters winners, if they happen to be the overall, to be included in both divisions. You might even find some that say, hey, I want them included in everything. So if they win overall in their Masters, and I've got an age division of 61 to 69, then I want them to show as winners of all three. So yeah, I've got to be able to handle everything. And the problem with that is I've also got to make the program simple to use. And I really think that the way it works now is the best of all three. So it's very simple to use. It can handle anything. Results are really fast. So let's go ahead and dig into it and see. So in this update, the biggest things you'll see difference in is the create race screen. Now here you can add your own athlete types. When we create a race, now by default, the system is used primarily by those who are going to time running races. Now again, as of this update, the software is not, it can handle anything. But since most of my customers are going to do cross country or running, road races, that is the default. But you can come in here and take those out if you want. You can add your own. Let's say you can even add races in here if you want. Now I think the system is still best. You still have more flexibility with what all you can do if you create races. Create one race for each event you're timing. That's still a better way to do it. But you could add races in here. You can add anything you want. If this is a cycling event, I really don't know all the categories for cycling, but let's just say sprint. You can add, M65 or 64 or whatever. I don't understand cycling categories. I'm not a cyclist, unfortunately, but so you can add in all the athlete types that you want. You can also add in your own custom divisions, and these divisions should be entered in the order of priority. And when I say priority, what I mean is if the division, for example, if the men overall division, if the winners of that division should be excluded from, let's say, for example, the Masters or from the men's 18 to 29 division or whatever, you want to enter the topmost divisions, which should be excluded from other divisions in the beginning. And whenever you get this update, and I'll jump back over here in a second. When you get this update, the 4.6 update, it requires you to do the database upgrade when you get it. And that upgrade not only adds all the new tables and all the new fields, but it also automatically converts your old data to the new style of doing it. And so whenever you pull up a race, you can immediately go and let me hide this section so I get to the reports. You can immediately go and pull up the results and print off your results like normal. But what you'll find is some new results that we'll look at. But here's your divisions. So I've already automatically converted those for you based on the age divisions you had and based on the overall runner count and walker count that you already had in the system. And so you'll see here that I've added them in priority. And so if I come over here and double click on men's 10 to 9, you'll see that I've automatically excluded the overall winners from the 10 to 13 division or whatever division you have. And so the way this works is when it's filling out the results, it starts with the topmost division and goes down. And so if we want to have, let's say we want to have overall winners excluded from not only the age division, but from a master's division. So when you first add a division, it's going to assume you're putting it at the bottom, but you'll see these arrows that we can move it anywhere we want. And another important thing about the arrows is, and the order of priority that you enter them, is the order that you see here is the exact order that the results are going to be printed on in the results. So when you print the results, the very first category it's going to show is overall male runner. If you want to have all your females on one page or on in order, you can just move all the females. Use the arrows to move them to the top. So there's female overall runner. Let's move female overall walker. So now we got female, and we can add all the other female divisions up under that if we want. There's female 0 to 9. So you can order these any way you'd like. But in this example, let's go ahead and add men's masters. And now you can say that this division is only for runners, only for walkers, or any of the athlete types you add in yourself. But if you leave them all unchecked, or if you check them all off, it is the exact same thing. It assumes that you want to include everybody if you leave them all unchecked, or if you check them all off. So basically, you only check these ones off if it's only for specific athlete types. And you'll notice as I enter age ranges, or if I pick different athlete types, it will show and hide the different divisions where you have athletes that it would also qualify for this division you're adding. So, for example, if I do a men's masters that's 40 to 110, the only divisions where these people might overlap is the overall, plus I've got some other divisions. So let's go ahead and save this. And let me cancel this so we can see it at the bottom. And now when I move it up to the top, so let's say we put it right under the overalls. And now whenever I look at it, the only division above it where you'll have runners that could qualify for the earlier divisions is the overall winners. So what this means is if I leave that checked for the men's masters, it's going to remove the top 3 overall male runners if they happen to be in the masters division too. And so if I do want my results to say, well, hey, if they're masters and they win overall, I want to include them in both divisions. Well, then just uncheck the checkbox right above, right where it says exclude the winners of these divisions. So that's what you do. You just come in here, and I'm going to go ahead and save that one. Let's add one more, or a couple more. Let's do men's Grand Masters. And let's just say this is from 50 to 110. You'll see now I've got the option to select the 3 divisions that I want to exclude the winners of. So what this means is if someone is 51 years old, as it's filling out the results, it says, okay, well, they are an overall winner if they happen to be in the top 3. So they should be excluded from this. And if they're not, let's say they're in 4th place. And so what would happen is the top 3 men would get in the overall males. And then, of course, because the men's masters covers 40 to 41, which means, it does cover that 51-year-old person, they get thrown into there. As long as, of course, when I hit save, I'm going to move this men's Grand Masters right below the men's masters. And so they'll get thrown in the men's masters, which means they should be excluded from the Grand Masters. And so that's kind of how that works. Let's go ahead and save that. And I'm going to move it up where it should be. And let me double check that it saved those categories, and it did. And so you get the idea there. You can add one more senior Grand Masters. Now I'm not going to save this, but if you add a senior and you hit 60 and up, then of course it will show. Let me go. I guess I will also save this. Add one more. And of course, everything I'm doing here, it would look the same with the female, except for you would select female. Now, of course, if you had a division that was not gender specific, then of course you just do combine and it includes everybody. So we're going to do men's senior Grandmaster 60 to 110. We're going to say we're going to exclude all these. Hit save. And then I'm going to move that up where it should be. All right, and somehow my overall walkers got moved down, so I'm going to move it there. So now that I moved it up, though, what's interesting is because it was below there, I didn't see that. I need to come over here and make sure that the overall walkers, if they happen to be, so now we're going to, so the men's senior grandmasters, it will exclude if someone is the overall walker or overall runner, or if they are fast enough to be one of the top three in these divisions, it will exclude them from the grandmasters. And so that's how that works. Works very well. And again, just so you can see, if I go men's 0 to 9, masters division is not in here because masters divisions, those athletes are not would not qualify for the men's 0 to 9, even though that division is above it. And so that's how you set them up. So now that we've got that set up, let's go ahead and hit save. Let's click on View Reports, and you'll see another new thing. So not only is this division results report new, now this race has got, I think, a little over 300 or around 300 in it. So, but what you'll notice is this report does come up a lot faster than the age division results used to, or the overall results used to. And so, because it's only loading a smaller segment of data here, but you can say, in the old way, the old version 4.5, you had to, if you want to pull up the 1-column version, which has got more details. This 2-column version saves paper, prints a little faster, and it includes everything, the core essentials that the race director needs to call out results. And again, these are, as you see, are listed in the same order that we put them in the division list. And so if you want to change this to a 1-column report, you don't have to close the screen out and pull up a second report like you used to. You just simply say, I want a 1-column version. And so you pull that up, and there's a 1-column version. You can also say, now this is what's interesting, is you can, let me go back to the 2-column. You'll see this option there that says bottom fill results, or fill bottom divisions. And so what that means is this will actually make it look like the old report used to, which is as it's filling in the divisions, if we have someone that would have been, basically if someone is, it puts a spot for everybody. It puts everyone in the highest most division they qualify for. And so let's go ahead and take a look at that. So it will bottom fill all the divisions and make sure that everyone's included where they should be. And of course, now it's loading everybody, so it takes a little longer. So this is bottom filling the divisions. And so this will get you, let's go ahead and do the 1-column version. And you'll see with the 1-column version, when I select that, you also have the option to say, I want a page break between the divisions. And so we'll select that next so you can see it. And what you're seeing here with the division results, the athlete type results is the same way, to where you have all these same options. So now these should be bottom filled. So of course, there's only top 3 in here, and everybody else is going to get in the bottom divisions. So let's go to page 2. So there's your divisions. And finally, let's click on the page breaks between divisions. So what this does is simply puts a page break between all the divisions. So if you wanted to have one page for each category, you can do that. One thing you'll notice too is on the top left corner, I have defaulted all of the reports to where, because this was a discussion that was on the forum not too long ago. Someone was talking about how why don't the results default to chip times, since even if you don't capture chip time, gun time is then used. And so if you just default everything to chip time, then it's the same thing. And I agree with that, because and with this update, by the way, it does do a better job of making sure that even if you add a new athlete after the race is over, it will automatically assign that athlete a chip time of the gun start time. But that person's right. The system, if you don't capture chip start, it will give every athlete a chip start time of the gun time. So why not just have a defaulted chip time? Now, if you because again, if some people might say, well, wait a minute, I don't want to use chip time. Well, it's the exact same thing. You get the exact same results if you swap it to gun time. And so now here's the issue: is there's been a couple times where I've timed a race with a chip start, and when it defaulted to gun, I would print results, and people would say, wait a minute, my time's wrong. And sure enough, I forgot to switch it to chip. And so I think it's a lot safer and a lot better to go ahead and leave it as a chip time as a default, as long as you understand, hey, this is, and I don't think it shows chip time, it simply says time. So the people looking at the results would have no idea what you selected there. They just know their time is right. And so you as the user just have to understand that even though it says chip, if you didn't do a chip start, that's simply gun time. And one also benefit too is if you didn't do a chip start, you still have the option to move the chip time back that may be easier than simply modifying their finishing time. So if you had some, let's say 10 people are going to do early start 30 minutes before the race, well, it's just simply move their chip start time 30 minutes back. And so, okay, so there's those. I think you'll like the new results, and I can show you just so you can see the athlete types. And I've also modified and improved the I did team results, sorry. So I've improved the overall results also. They do have the 2-column, 1-column version. Of course, you can do, I think, the chip time, gun time swap there. But the athlete types, again, looks and works exactly like the divisions. If I selected 1-column version, it would give me the option to do a page break between the runner and walker or whatever athlete types you have set up. And so you can check that out too. Okay, so another big thing that I've added is let's look at the clock screen. So now if you do a chip start, one thing that was a discussion point a little while back is when you do a chip start, there's no, in fact, I've got a reader plugged in. So let me pull up a race that hasn't been started. Let me just create a race. Okay, so in the past, when you do a chip start, it would not flash any kind of activity indicator because I found that if you did that for every tag read, it was really slowing the system down a lot because it just couldn't ding and flash that little thing. Even if I did just flashing, it was still causing the system to be pretty slow. And so now I've got it to where, as you see now, I'm presenting a tag and I took it away, present a tag, take it away. And so what happens is I've got it now to where basically it's checking every 1 second. And it says, has there been a tag within the last 1 second? And if so, it simply shows it. And so it's just checking every 1 second to see if there's been one. So it should be responsive enough to where you can still tell that you're getting reads, but not so much where you've got hundreds of tags coming across, in a 1 or 2 second period. It's not going to kill the system. Another thing you'll find too is that I've added something that prevents two things. Number one, it's called Windows pumping. In the past, when you uncheck the capture chip start, the system would freeze while it's in the background processing all those chip starts. And the problem is you don't know how long it's going to be until it unfreezes. The other issue is Windows doesn't know because there's no activity on the screen. It doesn't know that the program is it thinks it's not responding. It can't see that there's something going on in the background. And so now, and I wish I had a bigger race we can test this with. Now, if you, in fact, let me see if I can find one. Now, if you uncheck the chip start, it will, you'll see a progress bar. I'll tell you what, let me copy this database. And we will clear out that one race. So now if you do a chip start, I'm going to use this one because it does have 300 people in it or so. Now I don't have any tags. I got this one dummy tag that's got just the default EPC on it. So it won't pull up anything. But whenever I start the race and I uncheck capture chip start, you see that little progress bar that showed up just for a second. Now, of course, it would show up a little longer if you had a bunch of data. But the good news is that will tell Windows, hey, I'm still doing something, and it will never try to tell you, hey, this program is not responding. So that's another new feature. Another thing, too, is if you go to the Guide tab, I've redesigned this. And you'll see now you've got the option when you publish results up to run sign up, you can also say, I want to include age divisions. And so now when you go to the Run Sign Up website, not only does it show overall results, it will show each of the divisions and how people ranked in there. And just like on the reports, you can say on the bottom fill the divisions. And so someone can click on the men's 19 to 24 division and see everybody, not just the top three or however many you specify as the overall winners. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see the option to basically change the default reports that come out whenever you hit the the hotkeys for the reports. And so again, you can either press F10 or you can click on the link here. And if you prefer to have a 1-column version of the, let's say the division results, and you want that to be your default, we'll just check off detail view. And if you wanted to have it to where there's a page break between each of the divisions, we'll just check that off. And so now, by the way, these do not do the bottom fill on the quick print because the quick print is really used to be something that just simply you print it off and give it to the race director to give results out. Now, I may eventually add the bottom fill option, but I didn't think it was necessary right now. So if you don't check these off, it defaults to the 2-column view. If you do check them off, it's the 1-column view. And if you do want to have, because I was trying to envision, some people may want to have, because I have no idea how your divisions or athlete types can be set up. You might want to have 1 page per division or per athlete type. So you do have that option down here. So that's some of the new features. I'm sure there's more kind of buried in here. I'm sure I've really tried to go through and improve every area. In fact, there was a bug yesterday someone reported to where if you type in a message and then show the public display, it didn't show that message. In the past, that message was only shown whenever on the text change event. So like if you were to hit even the space bar, it would then show the message. But that's been fixed. Everything I could find, I've tried to improve. So let's go ahead and see what else is here. In fact, I've got my list on my phone. Let me take a look at that. Oh yeah, the results kiosk. So one request that someone was mentioning on the users forum is they wanted the ability to either hide this panel or hide this panel. And let me actually get some results in here. I'm going to take my database and put it back in this folder. Okay, so let's refresh that. All right, so we should have some results again. Let's go to the results kiosk. And so they wanted the ability. Now, number one, you may notice I've changed the view and how it looks. And so this is no longer something that shows age divisions and everything else because at all the races I've ever timed, every time I've used the results kiosk, no one really cared or even knew how to get to the age divisions, but they did want a scrolling list. And so the update process should be faster. It should load quicker. I think even whenever it detects a new database, it doesn't reload the results until it gets to the bottom of the list anyways. And so I think you can do the update, sending the database over, and it does store it in memory till it's time to reload it. I think, I can't remember how that works, but it should be improved. But the biggest thing you'll see is that this is now a scrolling list of results. You can, of course, like in the past, change how big the race name is here. You can also change it from gun time to chip time. I just now noticed this does not default to chip. I will do that before the official release of 4.6. But the big thing is you can say I want to hide this panel and make it only a results scrolling screen, or you can say I want to hide this panel and make it to where it's only a bib number entry screen. And so let's say I'm not sure what numbers are used. I say 205. Okay, there's one. And so if now of course you can click on this and that'll go away. So you can now show or hide either panel. And so that's a new feature. And then you also see I've changed the look a little bit. Basically, anything that's orange you can click on. So even if I click on this little bar in the middle, that'll show or hide that section. So, so yeah, that's how that works. All right, let's see. I'm sure there's plenty of other updates. Trying to think when you add a new athlete. I don't see anything big in here. Of course, you do have your own custom athlete types, so that will be available. And there's a whole lot of things, like I said, when it comes to speed and reliability that have been improved. I'm always trying to find ways to improve the system. So I definitely appreciate your input, and I've been working on this really hard for a few weeks now. So I'm sorry if some of the emails have been behind. I've always tried to tackle the emergencies first, and then I come to the questions or requests that take, if it takes me 30 minutes to an hour to think about it and respond, it's something that unfortunately has been on the back burner for a while. So I'll try to get caught up in emails, but I would appreciate it if y'all wanted to download the new update. I'll tell you where to find it. You can go to, let me type in, you can go to www.agracetiming.com/installers/beta/agrracetiming.msi. This is the file. If you just type in this, you'll see the file. And so if you can type that in your web browser, you'll find this file here. That'll give you the version 4.6 beta. I really hope I hear from some people that need to time cycling events. Again, when you're setting up the divisions, just simply enter them in how you want to see them on the results, and enter them in based on if one of the winners of these divisions should be excluded from a division below it, well, then enter those in first, and that way you have options in the divisions below it to exclude them. So yeah, I hope that you find that's easy. I hope that you enjoy the new run sign up interface. The added functionality there. Let's see. I wish I had erased this database I'm using from 2013. If I had erased that had a run sign up link, I'd show you what that looks like. But if you already have a race that's linked up with run sign in, all you got to do is click on the clock screen, check off the division or the athlete types, and hit publish results, and it'll replace what you had out there with the new style, and you can check it out. So again, I really hope to hear some positive feedback, or even negative, anything that will improve the system. Let me know, and I'm hoping within the next day or two I can make the official announcement. So I appreciate you watching the video, and thank you for supporting what we're doing here. So, thanks.